Tuesday, 12:37, 19 seconds, year 2023, 7th month, July 11th day. All the credentials are on the screen. Yeah. So, a lot of the consciousness that I've been having as I've been bringing forth this particular series, speaking with the IRS agent who called himself Spenser. A lot of the motivation is knowing that, the neighbor next door, because he sits in a chair next to the fence. He's got a new spot where he sits in the chair next to the fence. So, but it isn't just him. When I sense that there's someone, like for instance, someone performing construction on a house over here, or just someone in their yard across the way, or any of the neighbors around here, I sense that anyone's in the yard, all of a sudden I get this extra motivation to share information. Just realizing that there's extra ears hearing. There's other ears that could be listening, or that the words could, as the words are in the air, that those words are heard, listened to. So, as I actually get a more accurate look over there, I don't see the neighbor sitting in the chair. I thought he was wearing a blue shirt, because he has been wearing a blue shirt here lately, but the actual blue color is a blue tarp. But the brain interpreted that as the brain and the body interpreted that he was sitting there throughout this whole video series, which was giving me motivation to say all the things that I was saying, because I was thinking, these are going on the neighbor's ears. And I kept looking over, and I was like, God, he's still there. Like, he must be really glued in. Another thing that this IRS agent was saying over the phone to me a lot was, I can't really hear what you're saying. It seems like your voice is away from the microphone, which was telling me that he was very intent on getting everything on the record that he could, that he didn't want to be left behind, anything being on the record that he didn't quite hear clearly. The other neighbor, I heard her shut the door. She usually shows up around 12, 1 o'clock, 1:30 for a lunch break. So knowing that the neighbor's really not there, now that motivation just isn't there for some reason as strong. But I'm going to see if I can continue. I'm hoping to continue. But getting back to the original, Spenser asked me, he says, is there an agent connected to this tax account? And so I was being very careful with the answer that he's given him. And I've started mentioning that legally and publicly, no, there is no one else, no agent connected to this account. But I also put some other words in there to let him know that yes, there could be. And also at the same time letting him know that I'm telling him legally no right now, because nothing is entering into the brain legally and publicly right now. And the reason I say that is because one of the other times that he put me on hold, or that he asked me if I could be put on hold, he asked me. He's always asking me to see if he can get my consent. He did get consent, and that's part of the trick to the system. They always ask to see if they can get consent. It's part of the judge's tricks to ask to get consent, because they realize that most people, being citizens, will automatically think, oh, well, it's just a natural thing to say yes to a question. But I know that it's not natural to say yes to a question. When I give an answer to a question, I give a statement, a full statement, for the most part. And especially if I know that it sounds like the one that I'm talking to over the phone, when he asks the question, he's looking for some type of assumed jurisdiction. And I could tell that's where Spenser was coming from, this IRS agent, who is a Treasury representative. And the contract that I have set up through the Oregon Unemployment Office is a Treasury access agreement. That needs full honor. I'm waiting for full honor. For and on the record, waiting for it in fullness. The honor's fullness. So anyway, so I told him, basically legally and publicly, there is no agent attached to that tax account. But later on through the conversation, when he put me on hold again, because he put me on hold multiple times. It must have been at least 5, 6, 7 times. Which was quite odd. That was pretty much a giveaway that he was up to no good and looking to cover his tracks and looking for a way to weasel out of the phone call, because he might get himself caught into something, because he started the whole conversation off with, I need to capture. In other words, he needs to capture me or get me under some type of assumed jurisdiction to that all capitalized name on the tax account. Because I hold a lien position. Not only do I hold a private maritime military lien position, as a private military auditor, I advance it. In other words, I'm coming after him, not him. The whole club he belongs to, including the leader. In other words, not that I'm coming after them, I'm expecting full honor to the contract to happen, and I ain't going to be weaseled out and tricked out of it. So, in other words, they're on the run. In other words, they've lost. In other words, they've been captured. But they're not captured all the way yet. Because, and to me, it's really not a capture. Because it all just comes down to a child growing up and realizing that mother can't be controlled. And that would be me. I would symbolically be representing the mother energy, the universal motherly energy. And there's a universal child energy that's looking to control the universal motherly energy. So anyway, getting back to what I was saying, when I was put on hold again, I realized, yes, there is an agent attached to that tax account, because I had sent in a Form 56, which is to assign a fiduciary. And it was through a court case. And the agent is an attorney, because he's the one that opened up a court case down here. And it was for a bank that said that I owed them money. Or Russell Edward Eskew owed them money. The all capitalized dead fiction name. And I was eventually, while I was on hold, I went in, I looked into the records, the paper records that I have on file, and I pulled out Thomas Davis's envelope. And I looked on there, because I realized I might need to give him a date. And I quickly narrowed in to get to the date first. And it was something like December 18th, 2012. But the year is what I was really concerned with, because I anticipated that he would ask for the year when that agent was attached. I would have said 2012. And I probably would have brought up there was a Form 56 fiduciary form also attached. In Spenser's eyes, who is the real living man, hiding behind the IRS corporate name veil. In Spenser's eyes, he's trying to get me to be a taxpayer, because and he used that word every time he came back from the phone, from being on hold. He would always come back and he would say, "Hi, taxpayer." No, he would say, "Hi, is this the taxpayer?" He kept pulling that one all the time. "Hi, is this the taxpayer?" And every time I realized what he was up to, I told him, "This is Russell Edward Eskew, the real living man." And he tried it again and again and again. He must have pulled that one 3 or 4 times. And he was getting more frustrated with me, to the point where he was accusing me of being combative. See, because he wanted yes-nos to his questions. That's all he wanted. He didn't want statements. He wanted assumed jurisdiction, yes-nos, robot responses. But anyway, so here he is, you know. I'm waiting for, I had a previous thought, I'm waiting for it to enter in. Listening to some sound coming from the neighbor's house back here. That'd be over the fence line. But between the fence line here and the fence line where he's at, there's a utility space. It's about 30 yards distance. 30 to 40 yards distance. Yeah, more like 30 yards probably. Anyway, I'm hoping to recall here, have recycled another thing that I wanted to say in regards to being assumed as a taxpayer. This is the wonderful thing with just sitting here waiting for answers to come. As far as being on a phone call, and one thing I also know is that on the dark side, they like to send brain jams, signals into the brain to jam up the thought processes that I'm having, keep me from saying certain things or remembering certain things or being able to verbalize a thought. So these people talking over here across the yard, this is, I can see as part of the program to the hologram. To use that talking over there as a diversion and a distraction, to break focus, break the focus with thoughts and the body actions there. Verbalizing, speaking as a body action. Equal power with thought, the girl energy and the boy energy. I can kind of see someone's head over the fence. I think I'll get closer. I think I shall get closer. Instead of I'll, say shall. There it is. I'm going to zoom it in. Looks like two older men. of a sudden they stop talking and they're kind of bending under the fence. And they might be able to see me over the fence because I just got this little hole in the fence here. See this? This area right there. But if I put it here, I might not be able to see. Anyway, it doesn't really matter either way or which. I just thought it was kind of cool to be able to use that feature. The zoom. Wow. So there was one more thing I wanted to say on that, but I'll probably just have to go off camera and just kind of wait for the rest of the day. So I've pretty much said everything I wanted to say in regards to that question that Spenser, the IRS agent, answered, which is, as I repeat it once more, is there an agent attached to this tax account? And there's Strike the cat again. There she is. Look at that. There she goes. There she is. There she is, as I mentioned the IRS agent thing. The cat, that's the commercial affidavit truth. The natural sign that the cat shows up. She's just laying down there now. She likes it over here. It's hard to see her on the camera, but when I use the naked eye to eye, it's easier. It just seems to be too much sun reflection to be able to see it on the camera screen. Looking to get the finger in there, but there she is, probably. Let's see if I can get closer. Hi, Straight. But yeah, there were two older men at that house over the fence there. They're not talking anymore. They're not back there anymore either. There she is. Yeah, I can see her more on camera now. There, yeah. This is cool. So she has more the jaguar colors. The orange, the black, and the white. Although jaguars are mostly black and white from what I've seen. See, I'm getting closer to her. There, she's really on it. Hi, Strike. She just likes laying down right there enjoying herself. She keeps coming in the yard, and then she kind of like, I get too close to her, and then she goes away, and then she comes back. That's cool. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued that when the cat shows up during certain conversation and certain phrases and words that I use in the conversation, I see a pattern that it happens a lot when I'm speaking on the maritime system and what's going on in the maritime system. But yeah, I'm going to end this one and end this video, and then I'll just wait for the what it was that was in the brain that I wanted to speak on the camera, because I had two of them show up, and two things that I wanted to say, they both popped up at the same time, and I had to choose between them, hoping that I would still remember what the other one was when I finished speaking on the prior one. Anyway, so that's that. Talk to you later.